sports fans. This is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes. Here to talk a little bit of Texas A&M and Texas. What will it take to win? I'm going to basically be coming from a Texas Longhorn perspective. I kind of wish I had my man SEC Sean here with me today, this morning. He's a huge Texas A&M fan, and we will be able to get his side on what it takes for Texas A&M. But I wasn't able to get him this morning. He traveled to Arkansas to spend this holiday with his family down there in Arkansas. So I didn't get a chance to get him today, but hopefully we'll be able to do a post game sometime Friday night, maybe even Saturday morning, so we can get both of our perspectives on the game that takes place tomorrow on Friday at 7:30 Eastern Time. A huge Lone Star battle between the Texas A&M Aggies and the Texas Longhorns. I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but it's a rumor out there because I remember last year, Bevo, which is the mascot for Texas, didn't get a chance to, or they would not allow him to travel to Texas A&M, their stadium last year when Texas A&M played after a 12-year hiatus. So I guess Texas has been a little bit petty and not allowing their collie dog, which is if you ever watched the show Lassie back in the days, they have their mascot is the dog, the collie dog. So that looks like Lassie. So I guess they're not allowing that dog to come to the come to the game. I guess a little bit of payback for not allowing Bevo to travel last year to Texas A&M. But I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if it's true or not, but I did see that might be the case. Which I mean, hey man, listen, when the rivalry, you can get as petty as you want, and I think the Texas Longhorns, if they don't allow that dog to go, that's probably being quite petty. But hey, listen, it's a rivalry. You can be as petty as you want. Petty as you want. My man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 is in the chat. He also gave me some questions that I'm going to be reading off here in a little bit, just to answer some of the questions from some of the guys from WTP Sports Dudes. He said, "Happy holiday, Uncle Horns, for me on this one." Yeah, I'm hoping my horns get it because I know you got up under SEC Sean skin all week talking about you got the Longhorns beating his Aggies. So let's go ahead and get into some of these questions. The first question we got up is our man Mossberg, who's in the chat of Level Up Sports 10. What will Texas need to do defensively to contain the Texas A&M offense? That's a really good question, and thank you for that question, Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10. Texas have had a lot of issues this season with their back end, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of breakdowns in the secondary, and they have given up some plays that they normally don't give up. Now, if you look at this team this year in comparison to last year, you had Jade Barron, who was the Thorpe Award winner, who's no longer there. You had Andrew Makuba playing safety back there, along with Michael Taft, who has some years of experience, and Malik Muhammad on the other side. This year, you really only have Malik Muhammad, who's been playing exceptionally well, and you have Michael Taft, who in spurts has played well, but he has been taken advantage of a little bit back there with some of the miscommunication, probably because these younger guys aren't quite up to speed. Now, Jelani McDonald has played well, but he's had some breakdowns. Jalen Gilbo, who has been in the system for 4 years, has some breakdowns, and you saw last week where he didn't start in the game last week. They started a true freshman in Cade Phillips, which was probably happen again today. But to answer your question, they have to make sure that they stop the run. They with a light box, because they're going to need to have as many defensive backs in that back and on the back end as possible to help cover some of these dynamic wide receivers that the Texas A&M Aggies have. They can go 5, 6 deep at the wide receiver position, and they have two or three solid tight ends, which makes it very, very difficult for a Texas defense when you have a quarterback like Marcel Reed who can extend plays with his legs and who also is a really serious dual threat. So Texas is going to be have to be able to stop the run with a light box. And what I mean by that is they can't afford to have to add seven, eight guys to the box. They're going to have to be able to do it with five or six guys on most situations. And I also believe they're probably going to try to find a way to get another safety on the field, especially with Ty Anthony Smith not being able to play in the first half. Um, if they can do what they need to do against the run game with a light box, then they might be able to slow down Marcel Reed and that offense. Um, they got to make Texas A&M play behind the chains. The crowd really has to be in this game. They got to be able to allow Texas to take a Texas A&M offense from a, a, a second and 8 to a second and 13 by being so loud that the offensive line cannot hear the cadence or can't hear the snap, and they have false start penalties. If you watch Texas A&M, they have a lot of penalties that they get throughout the game. I think they average maybe 8 penalties a game, which is a lot, which means that they lack a little bit of discipline sometimes. So if Texas crowd can get in it, make sure that they force a couple of those false start penalties, procedure penalties, and allow Texas to work that defense, um, keeping Texas A&M behind the change would be a really, really great benefit, and the back end has got to be solid. You got to be able to come up and disguise some of the coverage with some what looks like bump and run, and maybe you bail late, or maybe you're playing off, but you're actually intending to come up. So that way we can throw off the timing a little bit and allow a player like Colin Simmons to come off the edge and allow for if Trey Moore is one of those guys in that NASCAR package when we got a team in third and long to be able to deploy that NASCAR package that can get some pressure on Marcel Reed. They got to have good rush lane integrity. They got to get push up the middle on passing downs so that way they can keep Ty Anthony, no, Marcel Reed's rush lanes to a minimum so that he does not have huge rush lanes to be able to pick apart our linebackers once he gets through there. Anthony Hill is going to be down a little bit in this game because he has a hurt hand, but I believe he might play. But I think that might be a question in the chat later on. But Texas has got to play really solid defense on the back end if they're going to be able to have a chance to win this game against Texas A&M. Thanks for your question, Mossberg of Level Up Sports Team. Our next question is from our man FanDuel Zaya of the FanDuel Zaya podcast. How big is it that Michael Taft has a bounce back game? And he said he didn't play well against Arkansas. That is exactly right. He did not play well against Arkansas. He had a couple of opportunities to make some plays to get some guys down on the ground, and wasn't able to do that. He still is nursing a bad hand or bad thumb, and he hasn't been able to tackle as solid as we've seen him tackle in the past. Hopefully, that thumb has gotten a little bit better, and he's able to get his feet set and be able to put his body on a guy to get him down to the ground. He wasn't able to do that on several occasions against Arkansas, especially when Taylor Green broke a nice run and shook him out of his shoes. And then that big running back, Washington, trucked him for a touchdown. But he had clear opportunities to get guys to the ground, but his fundamentals was not there, and he was able to get trucked by Washington and shook out of his shoes against Taylor Green, which are two dynamic players. So if those players make that happen on you, that's a good play for them. But I think Michael Taft will definitely bounce back. He even admitted that he didn't have the greatest game that he's had, and he didn't play well against Arkansas in spurts. But I think he'll bounce back and play really, really well in this game. We'll probably be playing a lot of those young guys because we've had a lot of breakdowns in that secondary, which coaches have decided. Listen, we're going to start playing some of these young guys. Oh, there go my man right there. Oh, I must have talked him up. My man SEC Sean of the SEC podcast out there in Arkansas. It looks beautiful out there today. Is it warm?
It's about 35, 40 degrees.
Oh, that just looked like the sun just shining, but it ain't really warm.
Oh yeah, we got clear skies, sun shining, beautiful Thanksgiving. Want to say Thanksgiving to everybody from the family, everybody in the chat looking and listening in on this. It's Thanksgiving. This is the last day for the Longhorns to be thankful because tomorrow they're gonna be unthankful.
Hey, listen, I feel the same way, but just in reverse. How was
Right,
your
right.
drive down there to Arkansas yesterday? I see you got there safely, and praise God for that. How you feeling this morning? How was that drive?
It's a It was a long drive. It beat me to death. The wind was blowing straight at us, so I mean, it just was like the wind pushing us all over. Semis getting pushed around. It's just, ooh, it was a long drive. But we do. It's normally not that long. We do a lot of stopping. Um, Wife was working on the way because her company had her working yesterday, so she was working from her laptop in the front seat, and you know, just riding down the road and stopping, getting out, stretching your legs. You saw my comment yesterday in the chat, the group chat we got, where stopped for lunch and realized it was only 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. We were a little upset, had to sit there for 30 minutes waiting for breakfast or lunch to be served.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this, SEC Sean, while I got you here for a minute. I don't know how long or how much time you got. What are some of the keys to a victory that you think that for Texas A&M to be successful in this game defensively against Texas offense?
Defensively, pressure arch, I think. And to be honest, tackle Arch when you get to him. Everybody looks at Arch and they think he's just this like, I don't even know what quarterback to compare him to, but that's what they think. But Arch is actually a pretty sturdy dude. I've seen him. I've seen some, 260, 270 pound D ends have their arm around him, and he just swivel and throw them off. So Arch isn't.
Yeah, you breaking up a little bit. We can't quite. It's kind of choppy, so I don't know if you need to
Um,
get. Okay, there you go.
yeah, I don't know, typical younger quarterback, to where his feet get off. It's the same way with Marcel Reed. If you get pressure on him, his feet get offset and he starts throwing high, throwing low. And, of course, you throw high over the middle, that ball gets tipped, it's picked. But I think if we can get pressure on Arch and tackle in space against your speedy receivers, whether it be Niblet on an end around or Wingo on a screen or a slant, tackling in space, um, A&M can't let Texas control the time of possession by getting the run game going either. If we can limit that run game, then I think Texas A&M has a really, really, really good shot at this.
Yeah, Texas A&M is known for their really great exotic blitzes, man. And Texas has struggled with teams who got athletes who can do exotic blitzes on them. Their offensive line has struggled all year. Do you expect to see a lot of that in this game?
Not at the beginning. I think we're going to line up at the beginning of the game. To be honest with you, probably say the first 2 to 3 drives of Texas. I think you might see A&M play more of just a base. Let's play our base defense and see what happens. Almost to the point to let Arch get a little comfortable and then flip the script and then come after him and see what happens after he get out of his rhythm. But I mean, if you're in 3rd and 8, or actually I'll say 3rd and 7 or longer, you're going to see those exotic blitzes because that's what Elko's known for. That's why we have the best third down defense in the nation. Um, get you in third and long, and you might as well just go ahead and punt because we're going to lock that down. Um, that's just my theory on the exotic blitz side of it. But one thing I will say is a lot of people keep saying, Texas has a great rush defense. Well, so did Auburn. So did Missouri. Granted, I'm on y'all's side. So did Oklahoma. I'm not going to take anything away from what y'all did against Oklahoma running the ball. But the two best run defenses we've played, we went for 207 against Auburn, and I want to say 200 against Missouri. So we've been able to run the ball no matter who's on the other side. Um, that's to me what this is going to come down to. Like I said in our rivalry preview, who runs the ball better? Because Arch in that Texas offense can be explosive. Same with A&M, we can be as explosive as anybody in the country too. But if you can limit the other team's possessions by converting third down and 3, third down and 4, third and 2s, keeping the chains moving, keeping them off the field, it's hard for the other team's offense to score when they don't have the ball.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm looking at is my huge keys to this game are obviously turnovers, but that's so cliche. I hate using it. Um, time of possession. Time of possession and who can run the ball better and third down conversion, third or fourth down conversion percentage. Whoever wins those three is going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that as well. I don't know how much time you got. I'm gonna go through these questions and anything you
I got a
want to
little bit.
chime in on. Okay, cool, cool. Anything you want to chime in on, you can chime in on, and we can also flip the question to address Texas A&M as well. Our man post game of the post game 86 podcast wants to know: will Anthony Hill play, and how big is it not having Ty Anthony Smith in the first half? Um, I believe Anthony Hill was going to play in this game. I cannot see him not playing in this rivalry game. He sat out last week against Arkansas to get ready for this game. He has a hand injury, which is an issue for any linebacker that has to do a lot of tackling. And we all know Anthony Hill is one of those players who have to do a lot of tackling. I hope that he is able to wear whatever he's going to wear on that hand and still be able to tackle. We need him in this game. To play without Anthony Hill in this game would not be well for Texas defense. So we definitely need him. Ty Anthony Smith not playing in this first half is going to be huge uh, because he's that third linebacker that we bring in, especially on pass downs. He's a really good coverage linebacker. So we're going to have to use Spence and Trey Moore a little bit more often in the first half until we get Ty Anthony Smith back in the second half. But that's a huge loss because he's been one of those young players on that Texas defense that's been a really, really bright spot. He's forced a couple of fumbles. He's made some key plays. He's had an interception or two. He's played really, really well as a young player in that linebacker core. Um, SEC Sean, what do you think Mike Elko and that team will do to try to exploit some of Anthony Hill's injury and take advantage of Ty Anthony Smith not playing in that first half?
All right. Well, first off, everything I see is Anthony Hill is questionable still, so we'll see. I expect him to play. My understanding is he's going to have that hand wrapped up as more of a club style. Um, as far as missing Ty Anthony Smith, he's one of your more athletic linebackers, can drop into coverage real well. I think you're going to see A&M at the beginning. If Anthony Hill is on the field with that club, that hand wrapped up as a club, I think you're going to see your Reuben Owens, EJ Smith kind of run at him. Let's see what that hand. Let's see if he can wrap up with that hand in a club. See how he can cover. You might see some screens coming his way to see with one hand can he defend it, things like that. I think they're going to see how he can, and Anthony Hill's a hell of a linebacker, so I mean he might be able to still disrupt the game with one hand. I mean I've seen it. You've seen it happen with numerous elite edge linebackers. So but I think we're going to try to go at him more than run towards Colin Simmons' side. I think we're going to go more towards Anthony Hill's side at the beginning, see how he reacts. And if he's struggling, you know, Texas is going to have to make a decision on we may have to pull him out because he's not there.
Yeah, you mentioned those running backs that y'all have there at Texas A&M, and one thing that scares me about Anthony Hill and these running backs is these running backs can catch the ball out of the backfield. If they get Anthony Hill in space on a swing route or something like that, and they make him miss because of that club or whatnot, it's curtains, man. And I think that offense is going to probably is Colin Klein. That's y'all's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Colin Klein.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's going to try to exploit that as much as possible with those running backs out of the backfield. So I think that's going to be another weapon they're going to try to deploy in this game. Our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 is asking, can Texas no, let me see. No, I'm sorry. Parlay Poe of the Parlay Poe or Blitzburg podcast wants to know, will PK change in the secondary to help those DBs who have struggled this season? Man, they have had their struggles, and now they're about to face one of the best wide receiver cores in the country. Now, I know a lot of people say that Ohio State has the best, probably tandem or duo in the country, but when you start talking about from the first receiver to number 6, it has to be Texas A&M, man. They have some serious weapons, and he's going to have to definitely do something to help slow down this Texas A&M passing game. I was thinking maybe he will try to deploy something like he did against Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. But at any given moment, Colin Klein can scheme up something to get a one-on-one with one of those young guys, and they're not going to be able to keep up with a Craver or Isaiah Thomas. Is that his name? What's the Isaiah's like Williams? Isaiah
Williams.
Williams. Um, those guys are tough challenges for that secondary being so young and already having a plethora of breakdowns. But he's going to have to disguise that coverage as much as possible and try to get some pressure on Marcel Reed to force him into some turnovers or to force him into some bad decisions. They got to keep his timing off in order to make this thing happen. It's going to have to come with some disguises on the back end. What do you think Texas A&M's Colin Klein will do to try to exploit the mistakes that Texas has been making all year in the secondary?
I don't think he's got to do anything different. Um, I really don't. I mean, Texas's problem in the secondary has been blown coverages and missing tackles like crazy.
Yeah,
You give Craver and Concepcion the ball, and if they have say 3 to 5 yards of separation and they're going downhill towards your safeties, I mean that's not a good sign for Texas's DBs.
yeah,
We've all seen what Craver can do with the ball in his hand. Concepcion ain't no joke, and like I said earlier, the one I worry about if I'm the Texas DBs is number 3. Um, Number 3 is the fastest receiver we got, and if you're running KC and Mario across the middle, and those safeties start, especially if the run game's going, and those safeties start creeping, you're liable to see a slant and go or something along those lines with number 3, and he's going to get behind the defense, and then it's just a matter of can Reed hit him. He's been a little inconsistent on his deep ball, but he's gotten better lately with just throwing it up and letting the receiver go get it. And Bethel Roman will go get it. That dude can fly.
yeah,
And Isaiah Williams ain't no slouch running either. He's fast, but he's only a freshman. You got Terry Bussey, like I've mentioned. I mean, to me, Ohio State probably still has the best wide receiver core in the nation, all of them. But I'd put A&M right behind them with the whole group, not just one or two, the whole group.
yeah.
Um, but I think Klein, A&M's big thing is Marcel Reed. We have to get the run game going because Marcel Reed is like 75% on play action. We run a lot of RPO. If we can get that going, we run scissors off of RPO. We run a lot of mesh. We run, and then we get the tight ends rolling down the seam. So I think Colin Klein just does what he's done: run the ball, establish the run, and work off of it. If the run game is struggling at the beginning, go to your backup plan, which is the same thing Texas does. Run an RPO and sling it out to Wingo, or Concepcion or Craver or Bussy or whoever in the flat, and let your playmaker make a play. If you sling it to the flat and you can keep yourself in 3rd and 4 or less, you've got a really good shot to advance the ball. But that's where we'll see about tackling, because both secondaries have had trouble at times tackling.
Yeah.
Um, but I think A&M's going to play a lot of man coverage against Texas, and I think that's what we're going to see. Is I just don't think Colin Klein's going to do a lot different than what he's already done this year. He knows he's got the horses on that offense to do what he needs to do.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad you mentioned that they will probably play man to man against Texas because I think that's their best option. Because Texas doesn't have Wingo is fast, but is he that kind of faster where you have to worry about him playing man to man on him? I don't think so. And I think that's an advantage for Texas A&M being able to play man to man on some players who they got some speed, but they're not like super burners. Uh, and I know Texas had issues against Evans and Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State. Those guys was giving Texas fits, and they're gonna run into the same situation with Roman and Culver. I think that's his name. I don't know what I want to call him. Something else. But those two guys, man, and they got some other receivers that got some speed too, can really be tough on Texas defense. But I hope that they are able to make some things happen offensively to be able to take advantage of opportunities that they're going to get. Our man Mossberger Level Up Sports 10 wants to know, can the Texas O-line match the physical play of Texas A&M and run for 100 yards or more? Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, they may not rush for 100 yards or more, but they got to run effectively enough to be able to keep that Texas A&M defense honest, man. I don't know that Texas offensive line is good enough to be able to just play smash mouth football against Texas A&M. I would like to see them maybe go ahead and go a mano kind of style for a minute early in the game and see if you can put a hat on a hat and see if you can move some guys and maybe have Trey Weiser run behind that line and pick a gap that he can get through, or maybe run a little bit of duo or a little bit of gap here and there when you got Cedric Baxter in the game, a guy who can always fall forward. It's going to be paramount, and I don't think Steve Sarkisian is going to abandon the run like he did against Georgia. I think in that Georgia game, he had a stretch of about 5 possessions where he was throwing the ball a little bit too much and abandoned the run. When we once Georgia went up 14 nothing, he sort of panicked and got pass happy. I think he can't afford to do that in this game. He because his defense eventually is going to get a few stops here and there to be able to keep continuing to run the football. So I don't think he's going to abandon the run in this game because he knows how important it is to establishing time of possession, trying to control the tempo and things like that. I think he also might sprinkle in a little bit of tempo too here and there to try to keep Texas A&M's defensive front on the field to sort of maybe tire them out, much like you've seen him do uh, against Michigan last year and in a few games this year. Will they get 100 yards? I don't know if they're going to get 100 yards. They haven't quite gotten 100 yards much this year. So I can definitely see them not getting 100, but they got to run the ball effectively enough in order to keep this game, keep Texas A&M's defense from just teeing off on Arch Manning. Sean, what do you think about this O line matchup between Texas and Texas A&M and the run game for Texas?
I I think A&M's O line is much better, and I think I don't think Texas's O line has the physicality to match our D line, as our D line has the physicality to match y'all's O line. Um, to me, Texas has to run for like 150 to have a chance in this game. That's just my theory, and I take our offensive line over y'all's offensive line, like I said, every day and twice on days that end in Y. Um, I don't I think your O line has gotten better, but I still think they can be got. And I don't think they, like last week, everybody says, well, they held up against Arkansas. Go watch the tape. Arkansas rushed 3 and dropped 8 the whole game.
Yeah.
We're not going to drop 8, I promise you. But I think we can win our one-on-ones up front with a 4-man rush. I think we can get to Arch with 4. Um, that's just how I look at it. I think that O line, especially with some of the exotic packages Elko brings, I think that O line might get a little confused.
Yeah, they've been getting confused all season. It's going to be a really tough matchup for Texas. Their left tackle and their right tackle, Brandon Baker and Trevor Gooseby. They're going to have a really monumental task on their hand today against those edge rushers for Texas A&M, and hopefully that up front group in the middle, uh, Connor, um, Hayden, and Campbell can communicate well and pick up on some of the things that Elko and that defense is going to do to try to confuse them. It's going to be paramount that Texas offensive line plays well in this game. Otherwise, they're going to be in a boatload of trouble because we all know that Steve Sarkisian can get a little pass happy when things aren't going well with the running game. But I hope he sticks with it, and I believe he will in this game.
If I'm gonna tell you right now, if Texas A&M gets up 14 points on y'all are gonna abandon the run game like you always do. And at that point, that game, if we get up 14 and y'all abandon the run game, it's over. You can go ahead and turn it off.
Yeah,
Start making plans for Saturday shopping, whatever y'all want to do. Because if he abandons the run game down 14, y'all are done. Game
yeah.
probably the same thing with A&M. The difference is I don't think A&M will abandon the run game.
No, they're not a band. It's not their. It's not in their wheelhouse. They know that they're gonna run the football regardless. But Texas, on the other hand, they've shown that they will abandon the run in a heartbeat.
That's the difference. Is if A&M gets down 14, Texas is going to probably back off some pressure and try to play coverage, which is going to open the run game.
Yeah,
And we've all seen, I'm not going to say the greatest, but I'm going to say that Mike Elko and that coaching staff makes really good second half adjustments.
they do. They do. They
I
really
mean, you
do.
held even Missouri, who everybody says, ran the ball well. Go look at that. In the second half, Missouri had like 45 yards of offense.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, so, and South Carolina had 76 in the whole, and Auburn had like 1 yard in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I like the second half adjustments we are able to make on offense and defense. I think if it's a close game at halftime, to be honest with you, I think if Texas is up 3 or A&M's up 3 at halftime, I think it's a ball game because I think A&M's a better second half team than Texas is.
yeah. Yeah, but they've shown that they've been a better second half team than Texas all season. So I agree with you on that as well. Our man FanDuel Zaya is asking, is there a position Texas can take advantage of in this game? Um, I like Texas's chance with Trey Moore in the slot against Texas A&M's slot corner in this game. A little older player in Trey Moore, probably being able to do some things against him. I think that's the only advantage that I think Texas might have is that one right there. Trey Moore against their slot corner, who I can't remember what his name is, but he might be able to gain a little advantage over him. And Trey Moore is one of our better possession receivers, but he's also another receiver that we can get the ball to down the field if we're able to scheme him open. But his route running is okay. Uh, but I think he probably can take advantage there with Trey Moore in the slot. What do you think about that, Sean? Is there somebody on the defense that you think is going to be a key for y'all in this game against the Texas passing game?
I think our I think our outside corners can man up pretty well um, with your receivers, Ricks and what is I can't even remember our cornerback's name, number 4, Willie. I wanted to call him Wade Taylor because he wears number 4, and that was our star basketball player this year. Um, your slot receiver, whether it's Moore or if you put Livingston or Livingstone, we're still debating on that name. Um, that's going to be a huge key. I think you're spot on. I think that's y'all's main advantage. A lot's going to depend on how Tyreek Chappelle, number 7, or Marcus Radcliffe, number 3, how they play. Um, I think to be honest, I think that might be y'all's main advantage is the slot receiver against our nickel slash DB.
Yeah,
Um, that's probably y'all's main advantage. I don't see a big advantage for you outside with the receivers. I don't see an advantage on the O line. I don't see an advantage at quarterback. Um, so that's probably y'all's biggest advantage is your slot receiver. Just as I think our slot receiver is our huge advantage, and our tight ends. I like our tight ends better than y'all's.
yeah, yeah. Y'all got quite a few tight ends though that is going to make it kind of tough for Texas. We've seen in recent history that Texas has struggled against tight ends. Man, they struggled against Georgia's tight ends. They struggled against Diego Pavi and his tight ends, and they struggled against I think Arkansas's tight end as well. He was killing us too. So that's 3 straight games where Texas struggled against tight ends. So I'm quite sure that Klein is going to exploit that as well. Our man post game of the post game 86 podcast wants to know what must Arch Manning do well in this game to keep Texas in it, and will Sark use Arch legs in this one? Well, he's going to have to be really, really efficient on third downs, in my opinion. He has to get the ball out of his hands quickly. If he needs to, he's gotten better at this. Hit the check down guy, and see if he can make a guy miss and get the ball rolling. But he has to get that ball out of his hand and be efficient on third down. In my opinion, he got to keep Texas ahead of the chains with his opportunities that he gets. He's going to get pressure. He's going to have to be poised in the pocket and be able to find where he needs to step up at. If he needs to step to the side, whether it be left or right, he got to be able to add an extra moment or two to his game to be able to get the ball out of his hand because Texas A&M is going to be coming. But he has to be poised, and if a rush lane opens and he can get 3 or 4 yards, go ahead and take it to keep us ahead of the chains. Will Sark use Archer's legs in this one? I think there's going to be several times in this game where he's going to use Archer's legs. The reality is, this is our last game of the season, and that's the way we got to look at it. We can't be worried about if we're going to make it to the college football playoffs. We got to be worried about winning this game right here. Otherwise, nothing happens other than a bowl game. And I think he's going to use Archer's legs a whole lot? No, I don't think so. But there are going to be times in this game where he's going to use Archer's legs just to keep that Texas A&M defense honest and giving them another thing to look at. Uh, and I think for sure he's going to use that maybe a couple of times a game, especially in the red zone where Texas A&M has played really good defense, but in the red zone they've been giving up some points. So if Texas can get into the red zone, then maybe Arch Manning's legs become that much more important. What do you think about that, SEC, Sean? Arch Manning, his legs, and what do y'all need to do to throw his timing off?
All right. So, what must Arch do well to keep Texas in it? Not panic. This is both quarterbacks. I'll tell you that for that part. Don't panic. Don't let the game be bigger than it really is. It's a football game at the end. That's coach speak. Sorry, but it's the same game you've played every other um, week this year. And sorry, I'm kind of off and on. I've been crushing cans for my mom.
Okay, you good, you good.
Had to take my jacket off too because my mom likes to leave little driblets of beer in the bottom of her cans, and they got all over my damn jacket.
Oh,
Um, but um, Arch has to be efficient and not let it be too big of a moment for him. This is, I mean, I know he played a little bit in this game last year, but this is a different environment. Texas was supposed to win last year. This year, they're not supposed to. Um, so um, that's my thing. Arch has to be efficient. He has to be on point. He has to keep his feet set, and he has to make the right read and the right throw at the right time. Will you see his legs? Yes. Arch's legs are going to be huge converting third downs. If it's third and less than, a third in a running situation, third and less than four, four or less, I guess. Arch is going to have to be something to deal with that because he can bounce out and run and get you 5, 6, 7, 10, 15. Arch has got a little bit of get to him. He can get it. He's not just a Peyton Manning back there.
yeah,
He can run the ball a little bit. So I think that's what Arch has to do is he has to manage the game, convert third downs, use his legs if need be. I don't know that you're going to see Sark running him on a lot of like quarterback designs
hmm,
because I mean I know y'all's backup has been pretty good, but again he's a backup for a reason.
yeah,
I don't think you want to throw him into that game if it's close and get Arch hurt or something. So,
yeah.
and Arch, I mean, I don't wish anything negative for the kid, but he did get that concussion. And, once you get one concussion, it's easier to get a second.
Yeah, I believe that might have been the second one because they ain't saying it, but I think he had one against Ohio State last year in that playoff game too. But they haven't said it was a concussion. But he didn't go back in that game, and when we got to the goal line, you would have thought that Arch Manning would have been in there for that quarterback sneak. So I think he had a concussion then, so that would be two for him. But I agree with you. I don't think they want to run him too much in this game. Not on a lot of design runs. Maybe in certain situations, maybe to keep the chains moving. What about Marcel Reed? Let's put Marcel Reed in this. What must Marcel Reed do well in this game to keep Texas A&M in it? And will Klein use Marcel Reed's legs in this one?
Yes. Marcel Reed has the quarterbacks are the exact same to me. What
Yeah,
must he do? Keep his feet ready. Don't get off. Don't panic. Um, but yeah, I think you're gonna see a lot more designed runs for for Marcel Reed than you will for Arch. I'm not saying you're going to see Marcel carry the ball 10 times on designed runs, but I would suspect you'd see a good dose of designed runs, and I'm not talking about zone reads where he pulls it and runs. I'm talking about designed quarterback draw, quarterback power, quarterback sweep, those kind of things. Designed runs, not RPOs where you got to read or zone reads where you got to read the D end. Those to me aren't designed runs. Those are the defensive designed runs. And but same thing though. He has to not let the game be too big, not re- not realize that hey we're in the playoffs. Let's just have some fun. No, this game means more than just a playoff. Um, we're already in the playoffs, so that's that. This is more about as Mike Elko said last night on the show I watched, The Pulse. He said this is the last chapter in the revenge tour. You
yeah,
know, they revenged Notre Dame. They revenged Auburn. They revenged South Carolina. This is the last chapter in the revenge tour. Is Texas, and he's making it out to be that it's going to be more special to complete the 12-0 season on y'all's field
yeah,
than it would even be to do it on our field. Which we love the Kyle field. Everybody knows that, but something about beating your rival on their field.
yeah.
So
Before I go to the last question that we got in the slate from my man Parlay Poe, last year's game in College Station, that freaking was electric, man. If you go back and just watch the beginning of the highlight of that game, it was bonkers, bro. I had chills throughout my whole body. Like, this is nuts. Can Texas and DKR Stadium duplicate what we seen from the 12th man in this game tomorrow?
I don't think so. I think Texas. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is going to be a good crowd, and they're going to be loud and electric. But listen to all the Texas fans this week. What are they saying? This isn't their rival. This isn't their rival. This isn't their rival. Fine. Um, keep thinking that. I think it's going to get loud. Don't get me wrong. I don't think DKR can match the intensity level of Kyle Field. I don't think there's a stadium in the state of Texas that can match that intensity.
I agree.
I'm sorry. Name me another fan base, and I know I'm going to get some grief on this from some of the other guys that like to wear that red and silver and all that. But name me another fan base that's going to put over 105,000 people for an 11 o'clock kickoff against Samford. Not Stanford, y'all. Samford.
Yeah.
Name me another fan base that's going to put that many people at that early of a time in the stadium. You're going to be hard pressed to find one. So,
Yeah.
will Texas come out and with a fan? Yeah, I fully expect it to be a raucous environment because last year was the first reiteration of this game in 12 years. This is the first time Texas has had us at home since 2010. Texas has the ability to put the one scar on the record, which they would be love to be the team to give us the one loss. But I don't think that they can match the intensity level of Kyle Field. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they can match that intensity. But listen, Texas Longhorn fans who are going to this game tomorrow, you are needed. You have to be as loud as possible whenever Marcel Reed, that offense, has that ball. I don't care if we're down 100 points. You still need to be screaming and hollering and chanting on those Texas Longhorns because it's going to be needed. And I agree with you. We can't match Cal. I don't think anybody, to be honest with you, can match Cal Field. And I don't care who it is. I don't care what any other fan of any other fan base says. That Cal Field atmosphere is unbelievable, and I think it's the best in the country. So Texas fans, at that game, you have got to be crunk. You got to be loud. You got to root on this team to try to get this victory because we're gonna need it. Last question of the day, and then I'll go through the chat and see if there's anything else in there. What's your score prediction? And does Texas or Texas A&M get the win?
Well, I gave mine the other day. I'm not sticking with it. 42-17.
He said
I
42
honestly,
seconds.
I honestly think A&M is going to come out. I think we're going to jump up 14, maybe 17 points on y'all. And I think Sark's going to abandon the run, and I think we're just going to start pinning our ears back with the D line and coming after Arch. And I think it's going to throw y'all completely off. And I think the game gets out of hand. I'm sticking with my. I'm not going to change my score prediction. 42-17. Could I see it be a close game? Heck yes, I could. But I think our offense, with what I've seen, I did some more research after our show the other day. Texas's defense ranks 107th in the nation against the pass. There's 136 teams. You're 107th. You're 95th in explosive passing plays allowed. This is not the offense you want to have those stats against. So I'm sticking with my score prediction. I'm getting ramped up, you know. Uh, I think this team from A&M is different, and I think we've just got a whole different mentality, and I think we're going to try to make a severe statement.
Yeah. For me, I initially said maybe 4 weeks ago that Texas would lose this game to Texas A&M. I have since changed my opinion since they lost to Georgia. I thought that the one loss that they was going to get in that 3 game stretch against Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M was going to be Texas A&M, but they lost to Georgia and they lost pretty badly to Georgia. So I'm thinking that this Texas team understands the assignment and they're going to come out and play really, really well at home. They're going to try to do everything they can to keep Texas A&M from picking up them 42 points that my man SEC Sean is saying that he thinks the score prediction is going to be. I'm going with Texas 28-24 in this game. I think that they're going to be able to slow down Texas A&M offense in spurts in this game, and I think they're going to play well and maybe force a couple of field goals, which is my hope, uh, and maybe can keep this game close going into the fourth and maybe get a score and take the lead and go ahead and seal this victory. But I got it 28-24 Texas in this game. I think that this is a game where Steve Sarkisian usually comes out and has a really, really nice script. He usually has a really, really good game plan in games like this. Uh, Now, he's going to have to make sure that his second half adjustments are on point because he's going to have to figure out what Mike Elko and that defensive coordinator over there at Texas A&M are doing. What are their core principles defensively? He's going to have to figure that out and make sure that Arch Manning stays poised so that he can take advantage of that when the opportunity presents itself. But I'm going 28-24 Texas. I mean, we need this win bad. I don't want to see my Texas Longhorns go 8-4, and then I had to hear from these Buckeyes who I did a video about yesterday coming at my neck because I know they're coming back for some revenge on me because I was sort of like beating down the Buckeyes and the talk that they talking about that they're the greatest program in college football history, which I'm gonna go ahead and say it is asinine. Nobody can claim that. There's a lot of great programs, and they're one of the great programs. But I appreciate you, SEC Sean, for jumping in this morning. I'm glad you had a little bit of time because the show wouldn't have been the same without you. So I'm glad you was able to make it. Enjoy your time down in Arkansas with family, man. Hug everybody. Let them know everybody here at WTP Sports Dudes love them, and we want to see them have a really, really good Thanksgiving with family.
Well, like I said, I appreciate running into Moss and one night crazily, and him. We start talking ball and sports, and he bring this up. So then I came on, and it's been a really good time. I mean, you post game, Poe, Zay, of course Moss and you and T1 and just been fun talking ball, all kinds of ball, and then you know getting other stuff cranked up that we've been wanting to work on. I got some ideas for you. We'll discuss when I get back into Ohio next week. I got some ideas that I think might help us get some more stuff going. We'll talk about it. No big deal. I see Moss posted another question down here. Says, "Will Texas make the playoff with a win, and how far can A&M fall if they lose?" I don't think Texas can get in without a bunch of chaos in front of them. I just
Yeah,
think they're too. I think after last weekend's rankings, or last week Tuesday's rankings, where they moved up one spot and Michigan leapfrogged them, I think it's going to be extremely hard for Texas to get in. They need Alabama to lose. They need Auburn to. I mean, they need Alabama to lose. They probably need Vandy to lose. They need Michigan to lose. Which, if you listen to the other guys on this channel, most of them will say that that's going to happen, but we'll see. It hadn't happened in 4 years, so we'll see. Um, I just think they need a lot of chaos in front of them. How far can A&M fall? Host a playoff game, first round. We're not falling out of the top 8 if we lose this game. Even if Texas beats us 74-0, which if that happens, y'all might want to call and check on my welfare. Um, but but even if that happens, A&M is going to fall no further than 8th. They're going to host a playoff game, and I'm going to tell you what, Kyle Field for a playoff game isn't going to upset me at all. But
yeah,
that's just my theory. I think if A&M loses, they maybe fall to 6.
yeah. I, yeah. maybe 6. That could only be the furthest I think that they could fall. I was thinking maybe more like 4 or 5, but that's all in the same range. Um, as long as they still make the SEC championship game, I think they can win that one and get back into the top 4 and get a bye. At least if they do lose to Texas, I'm hoping that that's what happens for them. That they still be able to get in the SEC championship game and win it, and then uh, get a bye in the playoffs. Uh, Texas needs a lot to happen. They need either Oklahoma or Alabama to lose. They also need Vanderbilt to lose. They need Michigan to lose. They need Miami to lose. And then maybe they might show Texas some love and let them jump over BYU or Utah. But they need at least 4 teams up there ahead of them to lose in order for them to get in. Now they're all possible too. Now Pitt can beat Miami. I believe that Auburn can possibly shock Alabama. Is it likely? Maybe not, but it is in Auburn. Uh, and then I believe that Tennessee can beat Vanderbilt, and I believe that any of those combination of 4 can happen. So will they get in? Probably not, but I'm still holding out hope because I want to be able to say Texas has been to the last 3 college football playoffs.
Look, I'm gonna give you a crazy scenario that I hope doesn't come out. Texas beats A&M Friday. A&M falls to 6. Texas winds up, slotting in at 11. They get a rematch at Kyle Field in the first round of the playoff.
That would be nuts.
Wouldn't it be?
That would be nuts. Hey, but listen, as long as we get in the playoffs, I'll take that. I'll
And
take
that's
that.
my theory. I mean, I want us to go undefeated and win, but let me be real. We're in the playoff whether we win or lose. So I'm
Yeah,
good. This has been a hell of a year 2 under Mike Elko. Um, so I'm excited for my Aggies. I do want to finish the season 12-0, especially because y'all are the 12.
yeah.
But either way, I'll come on and eat my crow if we lose, but I'm still going to be ready to roll for them playoff games. So that's all there's to it. But if we do lose, you was talking about the SEC championship game. For us to make it with a loss, Alabama and Ole Miss have to lose.
Oh, okay. Both of them would have to lose.
Yeah, both of them have to lose for us to get in because LSU messed up the bed and South Carolina messed the bed. So
Yeah,
those 2 teams were preseason top 10 team, top 15 teams, and Auburn was the top 20 preseason, and they all fell apart, and that just killed our strength. And Florida too, and that killed our strength of schedule in the conference.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll take it with what it is. Um, everybody have a good Thanksgiving and stay safe. We got a little football today, and but to be real, we crank up the football tomorrow starting at noon. So everybody stay safe. Don't do anything stupid, and we'll catch up on the flip side after this game and go from there.
All right, cool. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for jumping in. Great
No worries.
show. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good. See you. See y'all later.
All right. All right.
All
Peace.
right.